All right. Thank you for joining me again. This is the Hormone Rescue Series. This is what no one will tell you about hormones. This series of webinars is all for the ladies. And I appreciate you joining me because I think you're going to love all of the information that I have to share. I have, like I said, 5 of these topics for you. We've done adrenal health, thyroid, and weight loss. There's going to be gut health, mood, anxiety, depression, and its connection to hormones, as well as a webinar on breast cancer and common conditions for women. So please make sure you take a peek at all of them in the series. I'm sure that you will find value in every one of the topics that I have put together for you. But this one is, we're going to discover the key to hormonal imbalance of the thyroid and those hormones of weight loss and weight gain. So many people are, always interested in weight loss, especially us. We're ladies, okay? We want to lose weight. And sometimes it gets a little harder than others. And we always want to blame the thyroid on it. That's the first thing I hear in my practice all the time is, I bet it's my thyroid. Not always, but yes, sometimes it could be. And that doesn't always mean you need thyroid medication. There's a lot that goes into hormones. They're very complicated. Just as we are, creatures of hormones, that's what makes us women. That's what makes us wonderful. But we have to understand all of these hormones, and we have to know how to balance them out so that we can feel the best possible selves, and so that we can live a life with energy and vitality. So let's start to discover a little bit more about these key hormones in women. And just in case you don't know me, I am Marcia Jones. I am a nurse practitioner. I specialize in women's health and functional medicine, helping you to bring your hormones into alignment so that you can free yourself of that physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion that is causing you to feel like you're spiraling out of control, and that has led you to burnout. So I, deal with the adrenals as well as other hormones, and that's why this series, so that you can understand the role that all these hormones play with each other. So how did I get to this doing this though, is because of my own journey. And I talk about that in the adrenal module that I have for you guys, is because I hit the burnout phase in the prime of my life and no one could give me any answers. And, I got told everything that it could be, depression, anxiety, but yet nothing. I didn't get any true answers. So I had to go out on my own and figure it out. And that is where this magical world of hormones, and my management of those for women came to be. It has been a very rewarding path, because not only was I able to heal myself, but I have healed hundreds of thousands of women, and helped them to put their own lives back together and get that energy back and age in reverse. Honestly, I should put pictures in here of myself before and after, but I don't. How different I look now. I lost 30 pounds without even thinking about it. So that's part of this thyroid and weight subject, is I, didn't really know that I was overweight or didn't think I was overweight. I was more about the exhaustion piece. But when I lost 30 pounds without even trying, just by putting my hormones in check and by healing my adrenals, that was the added benefit. And I'd like to help you do that too. So this is an overview of the thyroid gland, our objectives for today, the functions and common disorders, hormonal influences on weight gain, and the functional medicine approach to thyroid health and weight management. That's what we're going to cover in this module. And you're going to be blown away. I'm trying not to overwhelm you, but I want to give you enough information to understand. And why are you here? Is it because you keep asking about your thyroid? Is it because you keep asking about a cause for your weight gain? If you've gained 30 pounds in a year for no reason, chances are it's your hormones. And most of the time, you will look towards the thyroid hormone, and you might hear everything's normal. And you're like, no, it isn't normal. I know something. I know myself. I know my body. Something isn't right. And so you go out for that quest for more information. And I'm happy that you found me in that quest. And I'm happy to give you all this information. So the thyroid, it is very commonly misunderstood, misdiagnosed, and mismanaged. A lot of times ladies are placed on thyroid medication that they don't need to be on. And this is a little overview of the thyroid gland. And again, like I said, I don't mean to overwhelm you. I just want you to understand how complex all these hormones are, and that it isn't just about, oh, well, you've got hypothyroidism and here's your Synthroid, or, whatever medication they put you on, and see you later. all is well. No, because a lot of times people are on thyroid medication and it still doesn't correct the thyroid problem. The TSH just keeps going up and up and up. And it's because there's a lot that goes into that thyroid. So this is the down and dirty of it. Number one, you've got your hypothalamus, which puts out this thyrotropin releasing hormone. Then it goes down to the pituitary gland, which puts out this TSH, that thyroid stimulating hormone. This is the most commonly ordered test that we look at. So that's up at the pituitary gland. But now that TSH goes and talks to the thyroid gland, which is located here in your neck. And that thyroid gland now has to do something with the TSH hormone saying, hey, put out some thyroid. So T4, that's about 90% of your thyroid is the stored or inactive form of your thyroid hormone. And then your T3, that's about 10%. That is your active form of thyroid hormone. So now we've got the pituitary talk to the thyroid, but now what? Now we also have to involve the liver because the liver converts that T4, that inactive thyroid hormone, into the active T3 or reverse T3, which goes back up to the pituitary gland or the hypothalamus and talks to it and says, hey, wait, we don't have enough, or we've got too much, or this is what we need. So this is what's happening. And then it has to get into the cells. That's step number 5. So now we had to say we need it, send the signal to get it produced. Then we have to send another signal to get it converted into the active. Now that it's active, we have to get it into the cells to be used. So there you go. That's 5 parts to what happens with the thyroid gland. Now, to make it more complicated, the thyroid gland is part of an endocrine triangle. So that means your thyroid, your adrenals, and your gonads. So those are the sex hormones. We talked about the adrenal hormones and that adrenal module. If you didn't get to see it, go back and take a peek at that one. But it'll help that part to make sense for you. But they're all connected, and we have to treat the adrenals before we can treat the thyroid, and the thyroid before we can treat the gonads or the sex hormones. So that's just a little picture form for you to understand. These are the common thyroid disorders: hypothyroidism, subclinical hypothyroidism, hyperthyroid, and then autoimmune thyroiditis. So the functions of the thyroid: metabolism, our heart, it controls our heart rate, whether it's fast or whether it's slow; muscle development, our gut motility, so how your gut moves. That's why one of the signs of hypothyroidism is constipation, because the thyroid, if it slows down, every muscle in your body slows down. And so the development slows, you start to waste away, and the GI system slows, so you're not pushing that stool through to evacuate on the other end. And then there's fertility, has a function of the thyroid is a function in fertility, your skin hydration, and even your reflexes and your nervous system. Here's some of the symptoms of thyroid dysfunction. And I say dysfunction because it could be, remember, high, low, subclinical low, all those, terms, thyroiditis. And one test, the TSH alone, is not going to pick apart all those things for you. That's why you need to know all the different numbers. But these are the symptoms: fatigue, anxiety, depression, migraines, hair loss, palpitations, irregular periods, dry skin, cold intolerance, infertility, a puffy face, low libido, brain fog, poor concentration, weight gain, poor sleep, hot flashes, constipation, enlarged thyroid, slow reflexes, brittle nails, and miscarriage. What do you think? A few symptoms there, right? Now, goiter. I want everybody now to feel, just like, look where I'm feeling and where this woman is on the picture, and feel this. Is it puffy? Does it feel swollen, or does it feel flat? If it feels puffy and swollen, you might have an autoimmune thyroid condition, or maybe missing some key nutrients. And that's where you get a goiter. So a lot of times I'll have my ladies feel while we're on our call, how that feels, and so we can see if we might be working with a thyroid issue or not. So contributors to thyroid dysfunction and those goiters: toxins, obesity, HPA dysfunction, that's that adrenal dysfunction; liver congestion, because if the liver isn't working, remember, it can't convert; high cortisol, because high cortisol It affects a lot of things, including your glucose levels, which affects your liver functioning. You have high estrogen, that can affect your thyroid, vitamin deficiencies, iodine deficiency, leaky gut, autoimmune disorders, and celiac disease. All of these can contribute to thyroid dysfunction. So finding the problem is more than just a simple lab. We have to know things. We have to get information. We have to ask questions. Is the problem at the thyroid gland? Is it at the pituitary gland? Or maybe it's the hypothalamus. Is the liver actually converting that thyroid hormone? Are the cells receiving the signal? Stress causing HbA issues? Is there a leaky gut, autoimmune issues? These are the questions that I ask. These are the things I'm looking at when I'm trying to help someone with thyroid issues. So here's another little overview of what's happening. High cortisol suppresses that pituitary gland, and that decreases that conversion of T4 to T3. And it also suppresses the uptake of T3 in your cells. So cortisol does a lot to thyroid. That's why we need to work on your cortisol before we can fix your thyroid. Then we have nutritional deficiencies, things like selenium, iodine, zinc, vitamin A, ferritin, which is your iron. All of these things matter because they all have to do with thyroid function. And you have to know your levels and you have to be careful. Don't just go out there and be like, oh, well, I heard that iodine, selenium, these list of deficient nutrients right here can help my thyroid. I had a lady once who did this because she was trying desperately to get her provider to listen to her about her thyroid. She was just absolutely convinced that her problem was her thyroid, and they wouldn't do it. So she ordered the supplement for her thyroid health and was taking it. Well, her hair is falling out. She's not getting any satisfaction, and things are just going, downhill. So she comes to me, and one of the first things I check is her nutrition and her iodine level because she had been taking this supplement. Her iodine level was over 3,000. It was insane. So an iodine level of over 3,000 can put you into a hyperthyroid state, which is actually a very critical state and a very dangerous state to be in. So we took her off of the iodine, we corrected the things that needed to be corrected, and she didn't need to do that anymore. But that's why I want to caution you that taking supplements is not always safe. You have to know what you're treating and you have to know the dangers of it and the safety factors. Now, then there's toxins like bromide, fluoride, and chloride. They compete with iodine receptors, and those iodine receptors are where our thyroid hormones get in. So if they're being blocked by these toxins, your thyroid isn't going to function correctly. That's going to be out at those cellular level. That's number 5 step. Then we have liver dysfunction. It converts 60% of T4 to T3. So if it's not working because of things like inflammatory gut issues or because you're diabetic or you've got really high cholesterol, all those things can affect your liver function, which then in turn is going to affect your thyroid functioning. And then if you have like dieting, if you're someone who's dieted a long time, it really can wreck your metabolism because it turns on a protective mechanism that keeps you from losing weight because your metabolism, the body's brilliant and it knows how to try to protect itself. And that's what it does is it tries to protect itself against losing weight from chronic dieting. And then diabetics, again, like I said, only 45% of conversion from T4 to T3 in most diabetics because of the liver function. So I hope you understand this too, that thyroid is more than just a TSH. And there's a lot that we have to look at for thyroid function to be appropriate. A basic thyroid panel. This is a basic thyroid. Should be TSH, T3, T4, reverse T3, and TPO antibodies. The TPO antibodies piece, that is to see if you have an autoimmune condition that might be affecting you. Or it can also help us to pick out if there's a problem with celiac and gluten intolerances. But other labs that I consider that, I can do in some of my ladies is estrogen, liver function, cortisol, some nutrients, and gut testing, because this is thyroid management. So when you support the thyroid, you need to manage your blood sugar, support your liver, limit toxic exposures, do filtered water, eating organic. Those are some things you can do. And then we have nutritional support like the iron, the iodine, the zinc, the vitamins. But remember, you got to be careful with those. And then exercise can actually help to open up your cells to accept your thyroid hormone. Here's some of the foods that you can get into your diet: Brazil nuts, iodized salt, oysters, lean meats. All of these things can contribute to a healthy thyroid. But again, you have to know how much of a good thing is enough. Now, speaking of the weight and the metabolism, let's go into obesity. Obesity is an inflammatory condition. It is a metabolic condition, and it's associated with poor glucose metabolism and elevated insulin levels, because adipose tissue converts androgens into estrogens via aromatization. So when this happens, we're putting ourselves at risk for more inflammation and for hormone-related conditions and cancers. So this is obesity in a nutshell. This is the concerns and some of the contributing factors. The hormones of weight gain are cortisol, insulin, thyroid, ghrelin, leptin, estrogen, and progesterone. All of them are connected. I'm sure you've heard these hormones before, right? If you haven't, you need to watch all these modules. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's a metabolic hormone, so it has to do with glucose and liver function, has a role in immune function, regulates inflammation, and it can decrease the production of sex hormones. Insulin is a growth hormone. Insulin can make you gain weight. It is a metabolic hormone, so it has to do with your glucose in your liver, and it's pro-inflammatory. So if your insulin is up, your weight is going to be up, and you're going to be at high risk for developing other chronic conditions. Estrogen, it has to do with our breast development, production of endometrial lining, maintaining vaginal tissue, bone development. It protects our heart. Our neurotransmitters are regulated based on estrogen levels. So these also play a role in obesity. Progesterone, it's a reproductive and adrenal hormone that plays a role in breast and uterine activity, bone health, and sleep. It has a very direct relationship with estrogen. So estrogen and progesterone go hand in hand. You can't manage one without managing the other. And it has a role in menstrual cycles like hot flashes, mood, fertility. So now an estrogen progesterone imbalance. So estrogen exposures and poor metabolism are the primary factors in estrogen dominance. Okay. So that means, and I said, if you're overweight, your fat cells actually make estrogen. That can make you estrogen dominant. That can contribute to poor metabolism. That estrogen dominance with a low progesterone increases weight gain in the midsection, can cause hot flashes and sleep issues. So we have to be very mindful of our estrogen state when it comes to weight. And now you see it's a vicious cycle. Like, which came first? Which one do we manage first? That's always the question. And, how do we best do this to balance everything? Now, then there's testosterone. Lower amounts in women are necessary for bone health, a clear mind, muscle mass, and increased metabolism. But it can be aromatized into estrogen if you're overweight or if you have high insulin levels. And those high insulin levels and high cortisol levels are inflammatory. So you see, here's our big picture of everything rolling around there. And I'm not trying to make your head spin. I just want you to understand how complex it is, and yet at the same time that we can balance it and bring it back into alignment. Then we have leptin. Now, leptin is called the satiety hormone. It's produced by fat tissue, and it assists in fat storage and that full feeling. So it makes you feel satisfied. So leptin acts on the brain to lower food intake. So if we have enough, we're not hungry all the time. And we increase our activity, we have energy. Leptin plays a role in all of this. It talks to the brain. So leptin resistance, okay, this is a new terminology, word that's being phrased, whatever, that's being thrown around. So the body is fat, but the brain can't see it and it feels starved. That is leptin resistance. Okay, so you can't sense it, so you can't shut off your controls to eat. You just keep eating and eating, even though you're overweight. There's a natural negative feedback loop that our body has got in there to keep things safe. It's our checks and balances. The body has to maintain this thing called homeostasis, meaning balance. We eat, then fat goes up, then leptin goes up. We eat more and burn more. Or we don't eat, our body fat goes down, then our leptin goes down, so we eat more and burn less. So losing weight reduces leptin, so the body tries to eat more and gain it back. That's where set points come in. And this is why you will gain more weight after losing it. This is why I don't like prescription medications for weight loss. Can they be used? Yes. Will I use them? Yes. But I use them with extreme caution. I do not allow my patients to abuse them because you have to show me evidence that you're doing all the things. You have to show me that you're working on all the things that matter for weight loss and you don't just take something that's going to shut down your appetite and you lose all this weight. Because when you start losing all the weight, you start shedding all your toxins, you feel terrible, you're putting yourself at risk for cancer. And that's why we are seeing a rise in cancer. There's going to be a lot more of this to come with the rapid weight loss that we're seeing from some of these medications. So you don't want to lose it rapidly. You don't want to lose your muscle mass. You don't want to lose your leptin control. You don't want your leptin to go rogue because it doesn't know what to do anymore. That's what happens with yo-yo dieting. This is why, like I said, you gain twice as much after one of those crazy diets or fads that you do. Causes of leptin resistance can be inflammation, a diet that's high in sugar or starch, the simple carbohydrates. High leptin is in the bloodstream, stress, lack of sleep. All these things lead to leptin resistance, just like insulin resistance. It's very similar. Then we have this hormone called ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. You might think about that one like growling, your belly's growling. It can stimulate your appetite, promote fat storage, and it rises dramatically after taking estrogen. Okay, so this is why we have to be very cautious about our estrogen, and we've got to get the right kind of estrogen and have it balanced. It makes us amazing women when it's balanced. When it's off balance, whew, we're feeling a little rough. We're all over the place. And that's when that chaos comes in. And that's when the perimenopausal symptoms come in and you feel like you're losing your mind. But it is also affecting your ghrelin. So lowering ghrelin is done by keeping the blood sugar balanced and eating fat and protein at every meal. You can't measure ghrelin, by the way. Only in research studies do they do that. That's not normal. So now, again, are you seeing how it's all connected? And again, we're going to talk about some advanced testing from a functional medicine approach to put this all together. You need lifestyle and you need hormone balance. You need nutrition, not diets. I can teach you how to eat, to not starve yourself and to lose weight and still feel satisfied. You need to feed and fuel the body. No starving necessary. Here's that hormone hierarchy. You're going to see this throughout all these presentations. Adrenals, thyroid, sex hormones. That's how they have to be fixed, corrected, and balanced. What do? We look for the root cause. That's how we're going to turn it around. Here's that functional formula. I went over that in detail for you in an earlier presentation, but we identify the root cause of imbalance. We protect your body from damage. We repair the gut and immune system, rebalance your hormones, body, mind, and spirit, and we rebuild energy and resilience. That is what we do in functional medicine. That is my program. That is how I help you. That's what I have developed to guide you through every stage. Here's an example of those advanced labs. You did see this in the adrenal one. But what it does is what I'm highlighting here is how the adrenals work and the cortisone. And that if your cortisol levels are high like this, you are at an increased risk for obesity and thyroid dysfunction. And again, this is one that has crashed. They've hit the wall, and this has to do with obesity and thyroid production. And this, again, is the same one I'd shown in another presentation that shows you that the adrenals are on top and they control the DHEA, the testosterone, progesterone, your estrogen pathways, metabolizing everything. Your estrogen has to be metabolized appropriately, or when we get down here to this bottom, you're at very high risk for DNA damage, which turns into cancer. All right. So these advanced tests are very important in functional medicine. And then here's what we need to do for our thyroid and for weight is we need hormone-focused nutrition, anti-inflammatory foods, improving that circadian rhythm, supporting a healthy microbiome, that's your gut health, stress management, thyroid management, hormone management. You've got to remember, one step at a time. The right plan can change your life, get you off meds, lose weight, relax, and sleep better. So thyroid dysfunction and weight struggles have a significant impact on your life. Chronic disease, including cancer, emotional distress, relationships, decreased work productivity, financial loss, whether it's be a job or from increased medical costs. And I'm going to ask you this question again. I'm going to ask you this question a lot through this series. How would your life be different if you could lose the weight, boost your metabolism, and get your energy back by addressing the real causes and not just band-aids or fads? Don't do another diet. Learn how to eat and take care of yourself. Learn how to fuel your body. Get nutrition, not food. No more dieting and starving yourself. That's how functional medicine for every woman works. That's how I work when I do functional medicine. I believe functional medicine has a place in every woman's life. And I hope you're starting to get the feel that I do, that you're starting to understand it and the passion that I have for this. I would love to help you. This is how you take action. You can book a hormone rescue strategy session with me so we can start putting those hormones into order for, whether it's your thyroid you need to be managed, whether you're looking to lose weight, you've hit the wall with the adrenal fatigue, your gut's all messed up, whatever it is, let me help you. The hormone rescue strategy session, that's where we just kind of like take 15, 20 minutes. We start to, talk it out, like what's going on with you? What might it be? What part of that vicious cycle are you in? How do we turn it all around? What can I do to help you? Is this a good fit for you? Is this something you want to do? Those are all the things we talk about. Then we talk about the programs I have to offer you in great detail. So if that's of interest to you, hormones.marshajonesnp.com/book now. Or you can go to marshajonesnp.com and you can find out more stuff about me and just click the button that takes you to my calendar so that you can get a spot so we can chat. I hope this was helpful for you. I love doing these programs. I love giving you information, and I hope that you're finding value in it and that you're discovering functional medicine is truly valuable and the way we need to go moving forward.